Hi guys, welcome to the first A&M Old Maroon Rugby podcast, soon to be named at a later date, actual legit podcast. Do a quick intro here. My name is Chase Johnson, and I played rugby at A&M from 2005 to 2010. I've been an assistant coach, forwards coach, general, everything around helping out. For the since 2010 to 2000, current. So more of a big brother Old Maroon role now. So it's going pretty good, and I enjoy it. And then played 2 seasons in New Zealand for Sumner Rugby Football Club. So go the wave. And then so I'm going to introduce you guys here, my co-host, and it's DJ Rob. So.
DJ Rob, that's me. Grew up in Houston, played for Katy. Came down, played for A&M in 2005 till 2009. Left for a little bit, but now I'm back. And living in College Station, working at Bear X.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about what you do in College Station. Kind of what is that?
So I'm the entertainment manager at a new water park called Bear X. And my goal is to try and connect people through live music.
Cool.
So I'm trying to infuse some live music into this town.
Awesome, yeah. What we need, right?
Absolutely.
More live music. Can't go wrong with that, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So, couple things. Just want to tell you guys about Old Maroon. Old Maroon is the Rugby Alumni Association or group for that supports Texas A&M Rugby. So our main goal is to do fundraising, raise money, stay connected with guys that we played rugby with, and generally support Texas A&M Rugby in any way we can. So that's part of this podcast, right? So it's kind of our goal is to get everyone to kind of get to know who we are and what Texas A&M Rugby is about. Because the main thing I hate is when I talk to somebody and goes, "Oh, A&M Rugby?
Yeah,
I didn't know we had a rugby team." Right? So, but yeah. So if you guys want to contribute to Old Maroon, or you guys have any questions like that too, please reach out to us in any way. If you're a former player, a parent, anyway, there's all kinds of ways to contribute to Old Maroon, and we'll make sure to get that linked up into the videos and stuff like that so you guys can contribute and learn our message. If you got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. So we're going to go ahead and get to our first guest. So get excited.
My man.
It's going to be awkward like everyone's first time, right, Braeden?
Absolutely.
All right, so I want to introduce you guys. This is Braeden Hood, and he's the current captain of Texas A&M Rugby right now. So, Braeden, why don't you tell us a little bit like where you're from?
Yeah, so I was born in Houston actually, and then
Houston.
moved around a fair bit. So moved to Denver, Colorado when I was 3 years old, and then ended up moving to Australia when I was 6, and been traveling around there ever since really. So started playing rugby in 2005, which kind of surprised my parents quite a bit, and I've been playing really ever since then. So more than half my life.
Nice.
Has been spent in sport.
What part of Australia you're from? I know it's a pretty small place. So.
Yeah, it is kind of tiny. It's a tiny little island. I'm from Brisbane, Australia, so it's where I call home. But I've been in Brisbane, Darwin.
Awesome.
All over the place.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about, like you said, you have a pretty good story about surprising your parents on you playing rugby. So why don't you kind of explain that to us?
I mean, it's a little embarrassing, but I mean, everyone's got to get that story off their chest, really.
So is this podcast for us. Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So I was kind of, I'm the youngest brother, and I was always seen as the baby. I was the crybaby, typical youngest brother.
It's me.
One little touch and tear up. So so my brother John, he started playing maybe 2 years before me, and because I was 8 years old, I had to go to all the practices and just sit and watch. So I picked up general ball skills, but of course, parents are like, oh, he's not going to play. He's going to play soccer. He's not going to do this. And then I finally asked him, oh, can I play tackle? Like, oh, this will be good. Like, we're going to have a huge tear up. This will be great. And then literally first game ended up just like dumping some poor kid, like power bombing some little kid. Like, oh well, he's okay.
He's a natural.
Yeah, and I kind of grew up from that point. And that helped me deal a lot with my older brother.
There you go. Right.
How'd you hear about A&M?
So I heard about A&M through mom and dad. They came here for their university degrees, and have been spoon-fed the Aggie lifestyle since I could really listen and understand English. And that was one of the main reasons, or one of the reasons why I ended up sticking around. It's just like that general familiarity with everything around campus.
Cool. I mean, so like going into that, like what are your favorite parts about A&M now that you've been a student here for a while?
I mean, definitely the community. So like so I did a little bit of uni back home. So I did a year and a half at QUT, and then did an exchange semester here. Ended up transferring. So one of the huge differences between Australia and the US is like just the connection you have with the school. It's like back home at QUT, you basically go there to get a degree and get out. It's not there's no real social. Like there is a social life. We've got a bar on campus, but it's more just like
A bar.
Yeah, but it's more just like, okay, I just finished a 3-hour exam. I need to go, purge that memory. But here you've got collegiate sports. You've got like NCAA sponsored. You've got varsity. You've got club. So even if you're not good enough to make, your women's soccer team, your men's soccer team for your school or whatever, or, lacrosse or something like that, you've got other avenues to go into. Because then you actually know people on campus, not just the, random few people that we run into at every class. So that was a huge part of what I really enjoy about here, and just the general Aggie communities. Like you have your rugby clubs and whatever else, but then just going through airports wearing an Aggie shirt and random people just like grabbing you like what class are you like? How do you know me?
First class for
yeah, coach.
Obviously being from Australia and whatnot. So what's maybe kind of when you first got to America or at A&M, what was kind of like the biggest like culture shock maybe, or something kind of that was like, whoa, this is totally different?
Black people.
I mean, yeah, like that's so. No. We have most people in Australia are Samoans and Tongans, right? I've seen James Lowry is the only Samoan Tongan Maori guy that I've seen really in all of Texas so far. So yeah, there's a difference in all of it, in the whole culture, the makeup of the city. But I mean, this has been kind of weird. Bread.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, no, that is
really.
different. Yeah, I feel you.
You guys love sugar, and it pisses me off. Every bread that you eat here is just super sweet, and coffee. You guys really need to learn how to do coffee. You guys go to Starbucks and you think it's great, and
whoa.
All right, you work in Bryan. You've got the village. You've got a whole bunch of places you can go to.
You do have a bunch of cafes down there.
Yeah. So back home, like coffee's so we would do something like this over coffee.
Really?
Yeah, you can do like pretty big business deals over coffee.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's really quite cool. Whereas here, coffee's just like a study aid.
It's a morning thing.
Yeah, it's just
Pick me up,
dude. I have to go get a coffee to go get in line for Starbucks. Like you make a coffee and then you can go to Starbucks, or else I'll just murder someone.
Right.
Well, what's the one thing you maybe miss from back home that's like that you wish you had here?
Oh, one thing I miss: rugby culture. Definitely. So, having rugby being your quote unquote like alpha sport, like for you guys, it's obviously football. And Saturday is just blocked off for football.
All
you spend
day.
4 hours
Day.
watching. You go, Well, like for in the U.S., it's like, I'm gonna wake up at 8 a.m. and I'm gonna go tailgating, and I'm gonna watch the game, and I'm gonna tailgate afterwards, and then I'm gonna go with my buddies to the bar. It's like, oh, good lord, that's a lot. Like, for us, you catch up with a few mates before a game. If you're gonna go watch it, have a few beers, watch the game, 80 minutes, and then you go to the bars, right? And then it's
Smooth sailing from there.
Yeah. And everyone has played at some point for the most part. Whether you liked it or whether you're good at it or not, doesn't matter. Like you've seen it or played it in some level. And then same with like high school. So like high school rugby, it's nothing like football here. So football here, from what I can interpret, is you have your varsity team and maybe your junior varsity or whatever it is.
JV.
Yeah, JV, and that's it. Now you have 2 teams, done. Whereas us, like we had a school in my town that had teams down to H.
Everybody could play.
Everybody's like,
Everybody's
you had
playing.
to play. Yeah, you're playing. And I really love that. It's just like,
Everybody's incorporated. I like that too.
so it gave an opportunity for the guys who maybe weren't so good, or who, maybe they were good but just didn't care too much about rugby.
But you were around the game. You could talk about the game at different times. Even it doesn't matter how good you are.
Yeah, exactly.
You just been around the game.
Yeah. It was awesome to be over there too, and just the sense of community that people that weren't playing are interested in it. Because obviously there was a couple of Americans over there playing rugby, and they went to know, like, they wanted to get to know us and like why and amazing how much they help you out. Like, I mean, those people will give you the shirt off their back to let you, like, to help you out, or just to grab a beer with them and whatnot. So.
But I think that's kind of rugby culture.
Oh, for sure.
So like
100%.
my club back home, if we found a guy who was struggling to pay his club dues, or whatever, it wouldn't be like, oh, we'll just reduce your dues. Like, no, you're coming to work for me.
There you
like,
go.
Here's a job. Here's a place to stay. Here's a couch to crash on. And I know we've done the exact same thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
A&M's done the same thing, and I'm sure that story is able to be replicated worldwide.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, I mean, that's the biggest thing about Old Maroon, right? Like, I mean, we're family. Like, I mean, and that's our biggest goal. And obviously, like, we want to get out and touch more people, right? And things like that. And that's one reason we're doing this podcast. So I think it's going to be an exciting thing to kind of get our message out there and get some guys excited about it. And then the biggest important thing is you guys coming into it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, awesome.
I love being able to bridge that gap, because a lot of our guys, when we graduate, looking for jobs, but we want to stay around rugby.
Yeah, definitely.
So if we can bridge that gap with this podcast and keep us all close.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many sides to that coin. Like, if you show up at your first day of work with a huge black eye and cuts on all over your face, people was like, "Are you in Fight Club?" Like, no, man, I play rugby. But like, you show up to that, like, looking like that at an Old Maroon job. It's like, nice.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Nice.
I
like this kid.
Absolutely. Tell us about what you got going this season.
So we've got, I think it's mostly sevens this fall. So we've got a game this coming Friday against Sam Houston and Prairie View.
Right down the street.
Yeah. So our sevens team, I think, is playing Sam Houston, and then everyone who's not a part of that will be playing Prairie View. And then the week after that, the 22nd, we're playing Arkansas as a tailgate to the football game.
There you go.
Yes, also Old Maroon tailgating the actual the football game against Arkansas there at Jerry World.
I thought you guys had upgraded and decided to tailgate at us first.
Yeah, well, I mean, a little bit of both.
And then just be very responsible, get Ubers. And
Always.
Uber. We need you as a sponsor.
Shout out.
So, awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this current season? Kind of, I know we've had a lot of recruits come in. So
yeah. So our one of our coaches, Johnny Smith, has done.
Who? No one.
No, you guys do know Johnny Smith? Man,
everybody at home is doing the same thing. What?
Yeah, that really surprises me.
Still here. My man Jay.
And I'm sure it's the same with you guys. He did a hell of a lot of work in the off season.
Yes, he does.
To get a lot of good solid recruits in. So I think before the season even started, we had 23 freshmen coming in that had been playing rugby before, and that's like we haven't done that in my time here right now.
For sure.
And I think even that might have only happened in your guys' time, because there was that. I mean,
it's definitely been an interesting thing to get recruits. I mean, we relied solely on for a while just getting guys out there in numbers, right? So I mean, I remember our freshman years having like 100 people out there for 2 coaches, right? And it's just, I mean, we have to essentially coach ourselves.
Yeah.
And then our senior years we started to do a little bit more recruiting, but I mean, mainly it's because the high school game started to pick up a little bit more. I mean, I remember being in high school and I played 2 games for the Woodlands, and it was one of those things where they were like, "Oh, hey, you got Emma." We need some players. So the first rugby game I ever played was against St. Thomas. We had 14 guys. 14 guys on our team, and I played lock. And I'm 5'8" on a good day, playing lock. And just mind blown, right? Like just not knowing anything to do, but it was awesome. And I just hooked it that day. But like the high school game is, I mean, just like grassroots Katie is the same way, and
I gotta give a shout out to Johnny, man. Johnny's the reason I'm here. Katie Rugby came and watched me play in Austin, recruited me, Hunter, Chris Parker. So for sure, playing high school rugby is big
Yeah.
It's a bigger recruiting tool.
It's
That's what
amazing
we
how
need.
much it's grown. So, like, how many of those guys? I mean, it's like 23 or something, to have like 4 years of like
they've got
rugby
more experience than some of our seniors at this point. And
Yeah.
Playing a while.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. And then we've got, so we just had MSC Open House the other week, and 70 guys put their name on their roster
There
to come
you
out.
go.
It's awesome. Like, we're definitely still doing the, spray and pray method.
The same tools we had.
Yeah.
But that's the way to go. If you want to grow your club and grow some form of culture, you have to get more than 30 guys out.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
So the year before, I think we finished with about 45 guys, and we probably retained like most of them. They stayed on to this fall. And now we've got 60 something, and hopefully we can get that number up to, with this 70, if they can all stick around,
Right.
that'll be great.
There we go.
It's a good way to kick off the year.
Having this podcast too, I think it would be a great tool for you guys.
Absolutely, yeah.
With everybody there watching, it'd be an awesome recruiting tool for us.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think? Like, maybe what's the most? What are you the most excited about this season, or maybe what? And what are some of your goals for this season too?
Yeah, I'm real excited about sevens.
There you go. Me
always,
too.
always excited about sevens.
Max.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Pro.
Right.
No, so we've been in nationals the last 3 years, and we've gotten better each year. So this year we came, I think we're 10th in the nation is what it ended up being.
Okay.
And I could be wrong, but fact check me later.
Yeah, like 9th, right?
Yeah, 9th, 10th, whatever. Yeah, I'd rather.
Are you getting support coaching, or is it just same coaches?
So we've had one coach had to drop out.
Okay.
Phil Grieve. Hope you're listening, mate.
Hey.
We've actually had fun sessions now, by the way, not just running for 30 minutes. But no, so now James Lowry's coaching our sevens team.
Sweet.
And so we've held all but one guy graduated from our sevens team last year that we finished 10th in, and now we've got a whole slew of freshmen that have 4 years of experience coming
Wheels.
in. Yeah, and oh man. It's so nice to have someone that can finish tries. Make the gap, like, all right, dude, go. Like, you run the 80 meters and I'll wait halfway.
Shout out to Justin Boyd. Ways on Steve.
Yeah. So sevens, and then we're also playing 15s right this fall.
Yeah, the specs in this fall, and then the majority of that's coming back into the spring is my understanding of it. But yeah, so definitely, and obviously definitely excited about that as well. 15s being able to have, again, we only graduated. When I say we graduated 2 guys, that wasn't just from sevens. That was from the entire
Period.
club. Yeah,
Good.
end of story. So we've got a lot of continuity coming in, and then we've also got, so with that continuity, we're bringing up our freshman group, our freshmen, the underclass, right? So they're now getting a lot of experience playing either against, with some guys that have had quite a bit of rugby under their belt. So yeah, look, I'm just excited about building the club.
Yeah.
Really.
So what are some of, I'll ask you club goals first, for this upcoming year, and then we'll get a little more personal, if you will.
Yeah. So club goals, I think we talked about this in one of our first meetings of the year. We want to be recognized on the national stage.
There you go.
In both 7s and 15s.
Yeah, podcast, you're welcome.
So we want to be ranked.
Yeah.
Right. So Baylor, good job for Baylor and LSU. And there might be one other Red River team that got recognized in the top 20.
Oh, awesome.
So that's great work on them, and that's signs that our conference itself is strengthening, which is another thing that's really exciting.
Yeah.
I don't like just whooping teams. I didn't like it in Australia. I don't like it here. I love having a good game where you finish, you're like, God, what's the score? We won by 3.
Hey, you go.
Sweet, thank you. We've got a spring break tour set up in California.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's playing. Yeah, I'm so excited for that.
Chase told me
personally.
about that this past week.
We had a meeting real early in the season, or preseason really, 2 weeks before school had even started. Mm-hmm. Usual rugby meeting, everyone doesn't really want to be there.
Gumption.
Yeah, gumption. He likes to tell me that story. And so as soon as Andy, our new president, talked about our plans to, spring break plans, the whole room just blew up.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's exciting. That's so
That's
exciting
where
for me.
we all bonded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was during our tour to with being Colorado or California, that is where we all bonded.
I'm the same way, man. Like we did tours, not all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but touring with high school teams, rep teams,
Yeah.
and
Those road trips.
You spend a week with a dude in the same bed, and you know him.
Smelly, right?
Sure.
He becomes your brother.
Yeah, or
brother.
a bus, whatever it is. Like you know them pretty well, probably better than you want to.
But I mean, brothers, right, man? That's what it's
Exactly,
about.
yeah.
So who are you guys playing on that trip?
So we're playing Cal.
Hey, that was a
and
good trip for us
maybe UCLA, I think it is.
I think it's UCLA.
Yeah. So again,
Cal Poly, right? That's
Cal
Cal
Poly.
Poly and UCLA.
Yeah. So they're going to be really tough games, but really looking forward to taking it to them.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a
It's a test,
long
right?
week trip.
Yes, it's all. Yeah. So it's basically like 4 or 5 days. So it's
Nice.
most of spring break,
Nice.
which is the way to go.
Go play some rugby on spring break.
Keep the boys out of trouble.
Hey,
Man, spring
go.
break in Cali, so awful. Yeah, let me tell you about it. No, I mean, we went to San Diego and Santa Barbara on a couple different trips, and it was, I mean, amazing. Like, the endless amounts of stories, and most of the guys that are our age, some of their favorite rugby memories are those trips. Like
Every time we get together, those are
yeah.
the trips we talk about.
Well,
That's the stuff.
the SFA lacrosse.
SFA lacrosse.
But yeah,
Shout out to Blake.
but we promised we get at least one of those in there. So
Always.
One
but
SFA lacrosse.
one SFA lacrosse reference.
Nice.
In there. But no, it's for sure like just such a great like bonding moment. And
Oh yeah.
we still joke about it. I mean, it's like 10 years ago almost. Almost 10 years ago, and we can still just just the endless amounts of stories.
You never feel like you lost out on a spring break. I
Yeah.
do remember my freshman year thinking I was going to go play rugby. I hated that idea of going to play rugby. I would never want to do anything else other than go on tour with these boys.
Yeah. Once you do it once, you're like, I don't want to do anything other than that.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. So then, like, kind of, what's your mindset kind of going into this season, like, more on a personal level? Like, what are you looking to accomplish? What are some of your goals?
So what I want
Need
to
another.
you maybe. So for me, I want to enjoy it again. Honestly, like these past couple of years, I kind of kept it quiet. But being president and stuff, it's really kind of like racking on your nerves. You never know what's going to happen, but someone at some point will screw up, and you don't know how
Take
bad
care
it will
of
be. But and
You just got to clean up, right?
exactly, yeah, and just so you're dealing with that, Sunday through Friday, and then it's like, oh god, I gotta play, and you haven't had any time to really think about, watch game film or think about your stuff. So really, like this past Sevens trip, I just kind of pushed myself back from running all sides of the club.
Yeah.
like I'm done.
That's
Like,
a pretty big
you guys
relief.
do it. Yeah, and it was the most fun I've had in a long
There you
time
go.
playing, and got to me the most out of that rugby. Like that was
Yeah.
the better rugby that I've been, like one of the best moments of rugby I've been playing these past couple of years was that Sevens tournament.
Perfect. Cool.
So that's really my goal. Just
To enjoy
it.
rugby?
Yeah, smile again.
Awesome. Cool, man. So,
Before you ask another question, we're at 28 minutes.
that's cool. Change it.
Chase and Murphy's Law for being one of our sponsors. Today I'm running out of my breath, sorry. And our producer. Where you at? Here we go. One time. Hey, Brady. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Where were we at?
So, but going back to like kind of some of the struggles, other than monetary stuff that you face as a student and whatnot. Why don't you maybe more some personal struggles that are something that's you've had to really work through in your rugby career and whatnot.
Yeah, so a lot of the older players in the club that are now graduated know my story, and the coaches know my story now, and obviously you do. But basically, so one of the big struggles I've had in the past since 2012 really has been a recurring heart issue. So I had heart surgery when I was 17 years old in the middle of high school, and basically my body didn't react super well to it. It didn't react badly, but it's not recovering the way it should be. So basically now we're going to get medical here. My pericardium, which is like the sac around your heart, and then what's happened now is also your lungs are in a similar sac. They'll fill with fluid. So that makes fitness real tough. So every now and again, I'll just step out.
Says the man that loves sevens.
Yeah, dude, I can do sevens.
There you go.
I don't know why I can do
You
sevens.
got a heart for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. But yes, that's definitely been a continuous struggle to get around. It's definitely put me in some pretty dark places. And honestly, so we were talking before about goals. My old goal used to be, give back to the sport of rugby. Not just A&M, but literally the sport. Because one of the things that my infectious disease doctor told me was, so like when I got sick, she like came in and was like, it's really weird. There's like 3 other people in this hospital that have the same thing. And then I was like, oh, that's, kind of weird, but whatever, shit goes around. And then maybe 2-3 weeks later, she came back like, yeah, you remember I was talking about those other 3 people? Yeah, you're the one that's lived. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the only reason why you made it and the other people didn't is because of like why you're so fit. Like you've been playing rugby for so long.
There you go.
So like literally when I say I owe my life to rugby, like I literally owe my life to it. So like that was my old goal was to give back to the sport as much as I possibly could.
Man, it's stories like that we have this podcast.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, with that tremendous, that's tough to deal with. How old were you when that happened?
So I was 17 when I first got sick, and then so I was I was 17. I was captaining our rugby side, my high school rugby side. Played 2 games and then spent the next month, I think, in the hospital, and then was kind of in and out for the next year and a half, and then had surgery. Might have been October, I think, of that year. So it happened pretty early on, and then October 18th or something, ended up having heart surgery. Unfortunately, it's not like the cool one. It was like cracking your ribs open and.
The cool one.
Because that was, dude, so honestly, it's like one of the first days I was in there, the cardiac surgeon came in, he was all decked out in sterile kit. Like, oh God, what's happening here? It's like, I'm going to open you up like a book. I was like, oh, sweet. Yeah.
Hey, hold on, cut.
Obviously, that's a tremendous, burden for a 17-year-old to, get put on him, right? So what's something that... what did you learn from it, or how did you get your experience on it? What did your mindset going through it, or what?
So yeah, that's a really good question. So fortunately, I had some people that I didn't know, I knew but not too well, that honestly really helped me through it. So one of it was our second side coach actually really helped me through. His name was Steve Mann, and so it was 2 or 3 years before my whole incident. He was walking down the road and got hit in the head with a 2x4, coming out of a work truck, and it completely almost decapitated him. And he came back, and he's working and teaching, and he's fine.
Oh wow!
So he came up to me one day. He's like, "Look, your family you're all going through a lot, but you have to be strong." Because it's your parents are, you're 17, they're worried about your life right now. Don't do anything stupid. But you have to be strong for them, because if they see that you're really struggling, their worry and their struggle is going to go through the roof. So honestly, that was probably one of the really big pieces of advice. It's just you're going to get through this. Look at him, he got hit in the head by a 2x4 going 60 kilometers an hour. You don't walk away from that, but he did.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, you're going to be all right. Give it time, and you're going to be all right. There's other things that are pretty religious, but it definitely gave me a perspective. Facing your own mortality at 17 is
you're built for the game of rugby.
It's pretty daunting, but definitely one of the other things that really helped me was just seeing other kids in my ward. So I was in the pediatric ward, and they tried to put me in a cardiac ward at one point. So I'm sitting in the cardiac ward, and all of a sudden this nurse is trying to do stuff, and she's just trying to take blood pressure and draw blood and just usual malarkey. So I'm really nonchalant about like the things that happened to me because I've been dealing with it for, 5-6 years now. But then all of a sudden this alarm goes off and she just literally just drops all the stuff and runs out of the room. It's because somebody crashed, they coded. So I'm like, nah, you got to get me out of here. You got to get me out of here. This is not for me, man. But yeah, definitely. So like, there was a kid just across the hall from me, and he had cancer in his knee. And he's like 12 years old. And it just sort of hit me one day. It's like, damn, like, I was feeling like really sorry for myself, obvious reasons. And so it hit me like, dude, that kid's 12, and he might not walk again. And then I was sort of thinking like, there's another dude down the hall who's 15, and he doesn't have a leg because of cancer. I'm like, well, what's he got for? Well, he's still alive. Like, he's still got one leg. And there's so many things you gotta like. You honestly have to, if you really have to, you have to find the bright points.
Yeah.
Because if you dwell and go, woe is me, you will sink hard. And that has definitely happened to me. And rugby is one of those bright points.
Yeah.
Getting back to be able to play the sport again was a huge incentive to, for lack of a better term, get off my ass. But yeah, like it was a huge, just motivating force just to get back to the field, not even to play, just to get back into it and watch it.
I would say, man, being who you are and having gone through what you've gone through, I couldn't ask for a better captain. If there's somebody
Right.
going to steer the ship, I want it to be you, man. You've seen enough for days, so
Yeah,
we're glad you're
that's
here.
for sure. Yeah,
We're glad you're here.
No, for sure. No, I mean, it's a tremendous story, and it's it's awesome. I mean, it's really hard to even really explain it. Like, but it's like, I mean, that's one reason I wanted you to talk about it.
Yeah.
because it's real.
it's definitely unique. Definitely wouldn't recommend it. If you can find other ways to get leadership skills, take that road. Take that road.
For sure, dude.
So we're glad you're here.
Yeah, me too, man.
So, tell us a little bit maybe about like what you're going like what school major and stuff. Talk about a little bit of that.
Yeah, so I'm a chemical engineering major, senior, bound to be super senior.
Smart and
Fifth
plays
year.
rugby. I like it.
Yeah, there's no doubt I will be a super senior. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. But yeah, so still getting through a lot of that. Looked into what I want to do after school, and there's so many different routes. One thing I know I don't want to do. Sorry for people who live in Houston. I don't want to live in Houston.
No traffic. That's what you don't want.
Oh, dude, if you drove with me, we couldn't do this. If this was in my car and we were in traffic, we couldn't do this podcast. It would just be one solid.
Shout out to all the boys in Houston, Old Maroon out there, Blake and all of them.
You're stronger than I am. Jeez. Yeah. No, it's like we've had companies come in and talk to us like, oh, you can come live in the Houston Bay Area.
No.
It's like, I'm good. Thanks. So I've definitely figured out things I don't want to do, and most that's like petroleum based. My personal opinion is it's not going to be too long before that's done, and I could be wrong, but that's just my thought process. A better and safer option would be going into just other chemical areas. The amount of chemicals that you need on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And
Shout out to Heineken.
kind of thing. So so one of the things I worked on a little bit over the summer with my dad is he's looking, when he retires, is starting his own tequila company in Australia.
Shout out to tequila.
Any tequila.
Any tequila.
And that to me that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for
going into a family business and making your own,
That'd be sweet.
making your own hooch. It'd be great fun.
That'd be good.
But yeah, that sort of area.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Cool. So, I guess goal-wise, kind of talked about it a little bit, but do you have one specific goal that you're really kind of focusing on to get through school, or what you kind of want to do afterwards?
I also kind of want to know, and I think they would like to know, outside rugby and school, talk social life. With the boys, what do you guys get into?
Yeah.
What
okay.
do you
So speaking on goals, and this is also plays a little bit in social life, is traveling. I really want to get out and see the world.
My man.
Yeah.
I like that.
Spent most of my life as a nomad and jumping around the U.S. and Australia. So like I think the most, before Brisbane the second time, the most I lived somewhere it was 3 years. And then we jumping off to somewhere else.
You're a traveling man.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. It makes it hard, but then I've got friends that live in Mongolia, that live in some in Dubai, one's moving now to Portugal.
All over the place.
Yeah, one's in Zimbabwe. You have friends and family everywhere thanks to this sport. So that's a huge goal, is to be able to get around the world at least a little bit and see the rest of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Rather than just 2 continents.
Awesome. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I traveled when I first got out of school, and it was one of the greatest decisions I made of, being able to do it when you're young, right? Like, versus, because there's always stuff that comes up later on in life. So, I mean, you can go about it either way, but I think you're on the right track, and that's awesome. So keep us posted on that for sure. I'm excited to kind of see about that. So is there anything else that you kind of want to, talk about it, man?
A little bit of social life. So like, so my roommates for the past, as long as I've been living in my house, 3 years, have all been rugby guys, without fail. And so we'd always hang out and do dumb stuff together.
And good stuff.
A lot of good things, but there's
go.
definitely some moments like that was stupid.
Right?
We shouldn't have been just swimming in a stream in a hurricane.
Right?
Yeah. But no, so like, we hang out. It's grown a lot since when I first got here. And by no means am I attacking the guys, before I got here and when I got here. They did a great job getting us back on track. But now it's really flourishing. I'm really excited to see our younger members just dragging dudes in. It's like, hey man, like we're gonna go hang out. We're gonna go play some PlayStation.
I like that. Yeah.
We're gonna go, like sevens. So we had a sevens paintball session before nationals. So we had 16 guys running around wailing on each other, and it was anyone left in College Station. That was an absolute blast. And we tried to get it before school started. We tried to get another one with like the whole club, but then there was that little storm that we had.
Harvey.
Yeah, Harvey. I think. Yeah, that came in.
You know what? Those bonding sessions, I think, translate to the field too, 100%.
Oh, absolutely. You can always tell, and I could tell back home as well. Playing for rep sides, when you're going onto when you go play another state, and you have no fear. It's not because you're playing with the best players in your state. It's because you know them. You know the best players in your state. You know them. And you know their weaknesses and their strengths. So you can that guy's he's not good on his right shoulder. And you shift in a little bit, and you both just crush someone.
There you go.
Or he's got a bung shoulder, a bung knee, so he can't step. So you just fill in those gaps that wouldn't be filled in if you didn't know them personally. And that's honestly where the club now is heading towards. We're getting to that point where, hey, remember that? It's like where you guys were at.
And that's exactly what we talked about when we were thinking about doing this podcast. Is we wanted to share those moments because those moments connect us and you guys.
Yeah,
we know you have them, and for us, when we get together, we reminisce in those moments. So
for sure,
yeah, that's definitely one thing I really want to instill in our boys. In the men now, they're not boys, 19, 20, 22, is getting to go hang out with Old Maroon, going to the tailgates, saying hello to Bill Towdy and those guys. Go. You don't need to have a 30-minute conversation with them. Go, thank you for running this tailgate. Thank you for running Old Maroon. Thank you for being here. Yeah. And just showing face. That's what we're trying to get there. Every now and again we have a few lapses. That's bound to happen. Can't have perfect attendance.
I think also, you guys hanging out with us gives us a better understanding of what you guys go through. So we know, when it comes to fundraising efforts or whatever, what we need to do on our end to make it easier for you boys to have a great season.
No, for sure. And that's the biggest goal of this podcast, right? Old Maroon guys that aren't necessarily at all those things. Like they get to watch you talk about, you tell your story and do that kind of stuff. And then, you know, when we have Old Maroon guys on here, the current club's going to get to watch us do stupid stuff, you know, and talk about whatever and maybe tell some good stories. And then, like, but that's what it's a family, right? And that's what we're like. I mean, and we're always growing, and we should always be growing, and that's the biggest thing, because we want you guys to hit Old Maroon and just be running. Like, it should be a fluid transition. Like, I mean, honestly, it would almost be like I mean, I would hope that it would be like this is like I'm ready to be Old Maroon, right? Which I think it started to kind of happen a little bit, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the point when I'm, you know, at even guys like Phil Hansen. I know you know Phil Hansen. To get to that stage, or even your stage, and be able to watch something like this and go, oh yeah, I remember doing that. I remember how awkward that was. Yeah.
Think you're getting a Heineken.
Uber, thanks again.
Right.
But no, I mean, for sure. So
and water.
You know, oh man. So yeah, I mean, I really. Is there anything else you kind of want to talk about, or I mean, I think this.
Tell you, before we end this, I always wanted each one of our guests, whoever came on, you had to pick. You can either tell us some words of wisdom, or you can tell a joke.
Oh man!
You get to do one or the other. Anybody who comes on this podcast either has to tell us a joke,
that's rough,
or some words of wisdom.
All right, well,
so
I mean,
I can't he was pretty inspiring earlier. So.
I mean, no pressure, but it has to be one of the two before we let you go.
Before we let me go, all right. So
let's go. I'm
just going to throw this out there. I can't tell any of the jokes that I know, because that will.
Yeah, no cussing on this podcast.
No cussing.
Student loans.
Cussing.
Okay.
I mean, not
If
that rugby.
there's anything that you could say to encourage the boys out there, or
a quote or something that maybe
that you think
something that has pushed you, or I mean, you know.
I mean,
it stays in mind.
It's definitely changed. I've had a huge turnaround these last few years. It's got to the point where it's now, as long as you're enjoying yourself, then go ahead and do that. Because to be honest, it used to be, and I love the fact that we're in Murphy's Bar right now, Murphy's Law, because there's a few quotes downstairs that I've personally felt. Sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel is just a train coming. I've had that on more than one occasion.
Shout out to Murphy's Law for being a sponsor today.
Yeah, but definitely, if you're enjoying what you're doing, then
rock out.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing can stop you.
I love it.
Good. Well, awesome. Well, Braeden, thanks for doing this with us and being the first one. So. I thought it went pretty good for the first one. So if you guys have any like feedback and or like comments, please let us know, because we want to make this better for y'all and just make it run smoothly. So again, Rob, thank you, man. It's going to be good. I'm excited about it. So.
I'm looking forward to all the other episodes we do have. Before we leave, you want to let them know, remind them about this weekend's game?
Yeah, this weekend we're playing Sam Houston and Prairie View at what are we playing?
This is our captain.
Sam Houston, right?
Hey, man, I don't run this thing.
Right.
I don't run this ship. Right. I run the team.
There you go.
Yeah, we're playing Prairie View and Sam Houston
in Huntsville. Right?
Huntsville. Line.
Either way, Chase is the man.
Yeah, we'll get that out to y'all so you guys know.
Let's just write that down.
And again, guys, if you guys want to contribute to Old Maroon and or to the club directly, let us know.
This is for money.
Yeah. So we will definitely be putting some links to our Flip Cause account, which will allow you to do that stuff. And if you guys have questions, let us know.
Don't edit that out.
Thanks again, man. Rob.
Hey, love you today. See you guys next week.